This is Teach Your Way with BenQ, where educators find ideas that work. Let's get started.
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Teach Your Way with BenQ. My name is Medea Shamsi. I'm your host, and I'm with BenQ's Marcom team. And today I've got Spring ISD team with me, and we're going to talk about how their classrooms are transforming with the partnership with BenQ and moving from traditional projectors to BenQ boards in their classrooms. They'll also be discussing how that's impacted the teachers and how they're reimagining their lesson plans and engaging with students in the classrooms, and also talk about the aha moments that they've seen and observed across their campuses. I'd like to introduce our two guests from Spring ISD. Let's hear about you.
Okay, my name is Kevin Holliday. I'm the Director of Instructional Technology here in Spring ISD.
Welcome to our podcast. How about you, sir?
My name is Ryan Causey. I'm the District Instructional Technology Specialist.
We're excited to have you on our podcast. Thanks for taking the time out and being with us today. It's exciting, and we'd love for you to share your stories with our audience and explain what kind of a journey it's been for you with transforming from and moving from projectors to the BenQ boards in your classrooms, and how that journey has been from start to finish and how you continually are evolving with us. So why don't you kind of start off just telling us a little bit about how you guys, or what point you decided to shift from projectors to BenQ boards?
So we had a bond. We were able to secure a bond. And so with that initial bond, the projectors were purchased. And then with the second bond, we decided to go with the interactive flat panels. Okay. And so with that particular bond initiative, we were able to get most of our schools and all of our schools and most classrooms outfitted with the BenQ interactive flat panels. And it has been a game changer, going from a really cool projector where you're looking at this amazing image on the screen to now I don't just have to sit here and look at this image. I can go up to the screen and actually touch and engage.
Yeah, so be more hands-on with it and get more creative and collaborative with it versus the projectors. Yeah, that's really a good point to move and improve technology in their classrooms. Ryan, what do you think the district was hoping with this switch in the long run?
To encourage more interactive interaction with the instruction, meaning to get these kids out of their seat and up to the board so that they're actually a part of the learning process instead of a receiver of learning. And really, that's where the BenQ board really has stepped in, because with a projector, you're just replacing something static, analog, if you will. And then when you move to the interactive panel, then you can interact with the learning, the materials, the different media types in a more intuitive and innovative way.
That's a great point. You talked about students moving out of their seats and interacting and engaging. How did this change impact the teachers in the way of their teaching?
Absolutely. I guess it took them off the stage and made them have to change their role in instruction from the purveyor of learning to the guide of learning. So it allows them the opportunity to step to the side and guide the learning process through the board. That's really where it's allowed that opportunity for teachers to allow the students to be a more active role in their learning. So
it's like they're not tethered to their desk or something, and they're taking a back seat and letting the learning just take its place in the classroom.
Shift from the Industrial Revolution idea of the classroom to the 21st century classroom.
Perfect. That's really awesome. And you're, I'm sure, seeing a drastic change in the learning curve in the classrooms as well. Can you share what the teachers are experiencing with the board when they're doing their lesson planning versus when they were doing their lesson planning for lessons in the classroom with a projector? How is that different?
So teachers, especially those teachers that are early adopters and they're very proficient with the boards, as they're designing their lessons, they're looking for opportunities to integrate the board. And so anytime we use various resources during our instruction, so anytime there's an opportunity, like let's say in a science resource, if there's some sort of a digital lab, that the board lends itself to making that experience such an engaging one for students.
That's a great example. Like, I would love to see how like a science lab is using the board, because that's like out of the box, very different. To see how that's like getting students involved in a lesson or an experiment or something.
Absolutely. And, in the science, and just extending that with science, the lab experience is so important. To just, the seat content. Kids need opportunities to have the hand-on experience. And of course, it doesn't replace the actual concrete side, but it's a great bridge going from that pictorial, from the concrete to that pictorial representation to the actual hands-on experience in the lab.
Ryan, have you seen anything exciting or a wow aha moment with the board in like a different kind of setting that kind of surprised you?
Well, initially, when you're talking about instructional technology, you have the SAMR model in which we base all of the different levels of technology integration. You start off with substitution, right? And we're moving up that chain. The board supplies support for all levels of the SAMR model, but it also is innovative and allows for that innovative, creativity when coming up with instruction, that they can move and use that board for redefinition and provide learning opportunities that previously were not available. So I think the technology really fits all levels of users.
I like that you brought out that point. Like the boards are like built in a way where teachers could start at whatever their comfort level is, whether it be down here or midway, or they're ready to just accelerate it or go beyond.
And it naturally helps them progress up that chain. So, they'll find themselves augmenting and then modifying. And then before you know, they're moving naturally up to the redefinition just from the board itself and having that opportunity.
And I'm sure you two are very instrumental in taking them to the next stage.
Oh, absolutely.
In utilizing the board, right?
We try our best,
We like to look for opportunities in the classroom for teachers to be able to use the device. And so I always like to say that our teachers are the content experts and we're the tool experts. And so, we definitely try to focus on SAMR model, especially as we look at blended learning, and always reminding teachers that, you don't necessarily have to be at the top, that it just depends on, what the student needs are.
Right.
And those early adopters also provide examples of how BenQ boards and the software can be utilized with our curriculum and our instructional pieces. And it's better for them to learn from their coworkers and people that are teachers than to hear a step sheet from me. You understand what I mean? So it's more natural, and it comes as a support and as a collaboration between peers and coworkers. So I think that's been pivotal, in just getting the support out there and seeing these changes happening on the board.
And what kind of training support are you providing, or are they reaching out to the BenQ team or using BenQ resources to kind of enhance their learning and move along with their journey with the board in their classrooms?
So pretty much, we get a lot of calls, emails from principals, from instructional leaders on the campus to come out and do trainings, PLC trainings. And typically what we try to do is always start at the foundations. Always tell teachers, let's just pretend you left Friday, you showed up Monday, the board's there. Let me show you how to bring this thing from dark to light and get logged in and get started. Okay. And then we also look at, because there are varying levels, let's look at who's doing what. So what's something exciting you're doing in your classroom, and then try to replicate that so that we all learn something. And then try to allow them to walk away with something amazing. BenQ has done an amazing job with updates. And so there's always some really cool tools that comes with the updates that we try to also showcase as well.
And being 2 or 3 instructional technology specialists for the district, it's very imperative that we leverage the CITs on the different campuses and we put them in a place so that they can support the work being done. We're almost a grassroots system here, where we have to find any opportunities to get in the classroom to provide these examples for them, even if it's just walking by a classroom and saying, well, did you think about this? And then moving on. It's very almost natural, you know what I mean?
And once they start using it, they get their comfort level with it, and then they start exploring more and adding more to it.
Absolutely.
As well.
And I'll be transparent. Sometimes I walk by a room and like, oh, that's very cool. How'd you do that?
Yeah.
So we talked about the teacher impact with the teachers teaching with the board. Can you give us a little bit of insight at how it's like impacted the students in the classrooms
Yes.
across all your campuses?
Oh, yes. So one of my favorite tools is Team Post. And so competition as a teacher, competition was something I did in the classroom. We were competitive within the classroom, classroom against classroom. I mean, that has changed at all levels, from the pre-K kids all the way up to our 12th graders at our early college, where they can bring up that Team Post and they put a problem up there. It was an algebra 2 problem. I have no idea what they were doing, but the competition, the trying to get it done quickly, they're having so much fun, and then they're learning and they're becoming a lot more proficient and deeper as far as their understanding, deepening their understanding.
That competitive spirit, when you get that going, students don't even know that they're learning, but they're learning a lot doing that and just having fun along the way.
Absolutely, that's the trick. You don't want them to know that they're learning. You just want to be a part of the process.
I know we've talked a lot about teacher experiences, but as you visit campuses and see how the board is being implemented and utilized across campuses, what are some of your aha moments that are oh wow, I didn't even think of this, that the way the teacher or the student is using the board? Can you give us some examples or share some of your experiences like that?
I mean, we're focusing on students and teachers as the stakeholders, but there are, instructional leadership, there is school leadership. And so, when we're talking about BenQ and training, we're talking about students, we're talking about teachers, we're talking about how they can use it during PLCs in a group of professionals, how they can capitalize on the tools to dig into data or share or collaborate with each other in a professional setting. And so, we not only instruct teachers and students, but we also find ways to implement it in all areas and with all stakeholders.
And for me, I was at one of our elementary schools, and the teacher gave the students the task of creating their own anchor charts. And so there were students actually had agency. So she had the students in groups. She passed out chart paper, so you can do it no-tech.
Right.
Or you could use the BenQ board. And so it was amazing that kids could come up and create an anchor chart of their learning. And that goes up either, as he would always say, analog with the old style Post-it note that I created, the large post, or I can have this digital version of my anchor chart. So I thought that was really ingenious, that kids get an opportunity to create an end product of the learning that could be shared with the class at some point. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, that is pretty cool. The kids are doing it two different ways and kind of seeing the differences and the variations of how you can do a simple task or one given scenario to work on our project or something. So that's pretty cool. I think what I would like to look into and see is, as a whole Spring ISD district, with the boards now being implemented and teachers starting to utilize them and getting familiar and comfortable, in the long run, what are the learning goals for Spring ISD with the boards in the future going forward?
So again, we are all about trying to push blended learning, especially as we look at many of the gaps that our kids are experiencing, especially post-COVID. And so just really looking at how we can leverage BenQ and all other tools, the projector as well as the board and all other devices that we have, along with the resources, to really personalize that learning experience for the students.
I'm glad that you mentioned about the learning gap. Mm-hmm. So the boards have really helped teachers identify coming up with a more personalized plan for each kid by utilizing the board and identifying that. Could you shed some light on that
Yeah,
a
so
little bit?
like really, we have access to lots of digital resources, like let's say some of the math software that's adaptive. And so teachers can put students on these software programs to gather data, and then based on that data, come up with activities that you can use with the board and with whatever other resource we may have, so that students can have a learning experience that's tailored to whatever their need is. And so the board is not necessarily providing the activity, but it's providing a different way for the student to access
And learn it, like, or like take
Yes.
the input
Absolutely,
of it, right?
absolutely.
Okay.
Can I add to that?
Yes, of course.
I mean, what type of learners do we have in the classroom these days? The ones that start off at 3 or 4 years old with an iPad in their hands in Walmart, watching and learning from the iPad. So we're taking them from the way they've been trained as learners, and now we're able to provide them with the technology and an experience that's very similar to it. I call it educational hijacking, because they are learning those skills and the way to interact with the interfaces, and it just seamlessly transfers over to the BenQ. And so now they're learning in a format that they're used to, in chunks that they're used to. And so I believe that the BenQ is providing them with the proper learning environment.
That is an excellent point. Like, if you look at that way, that's just like a natural, like our kids generally, and like you said, like 2, 3-year-olds, they know how to maneuver your cell phone and all of that. And the board is really pretty much mimicking what they're so used to. So it's the learning comes really natural.
There is no learning curve because they already have the skill set.
That's right.
And
That's a great point. I really appreciate you sharing that. Like, for people who are trying to, or districts who are trying to like look and evaluate, is it time to move on from projectors and adopting to new technology that's more future ready for them, for the kids?
It's time
especially.
to be Netflix and no longer Blockbuster.
Yeah, absolutely. And one last thing too that I'll add too is that our kids are really good with consuming with technology. That's the natural.
That's right.
But we want to also look for opportunities for our kids to be able to create using these devices. And so with giving them learning experiences using the board as an extension and providing kids with those opportunities to be able to create, we're definitely setting them up for success in a future that we don't really know.
That's right. That's a great point too. Like, getting them used to technology and stuff so that they're ready to be out when like ready to roll when they're out there. Great points. I really appreciate you sharing those sides with us. I want to thank you for joining us at our podcast today, and we look forward to working and continue our partnership with Spring ISD. And I just want to thank everybody to joining us for our podcast, and we'll be back soon again with another great episode. Make sure you follow all of our social links on LinkedIn, our YouTube page, and we look forward to seeing you again next episode. Thanks.
Thanks for joining us on Teach Your Way with BenQ. For more resources and teaching inspiration, visit us online at benqboard.com. Don't forget to follow the show so you never miss an episode.